The Battle of Intombe, a forgotten clash that shaped the Zulu-British conflict. History is filled with gripping tales of courage, miscalculation, and survival against the odds. Some of these moments fade into obscurity, overshadowed by grander, more famous battles, but their significance resonates just as deeply. Today we dive into one such forgotten event, the Battle of Intombe, fought on March 12, 1879. Set against the backdrop of the Anglo-Zulu War, this dramatic episode isn't just a story of a surprise attack. It's a lesson in strategy, leadership, and the unbreakable resolve of the Zulu people. The Anglo-Zulu War of 1879 was a confrontation between the British Empire and the powerful Zulu kingdom. At its heart were two clashing ideals: the British ambition to expand colonial rule across southern Africa and the Zulu people's fierce determination to protect their land and sovereignty. The British underestimated the Zulu military structure, viewing them through a lens of European superiority. Yet, the Zulus were not to be trifled with. Their warriors, organized into disciplined impis, regiments, followed precise tactics under skilled leaders. They had already proven their might at the Battle of Isandlwana, where they delivered a humiliating defeat to the British on January 22, 1879. But for the British, losses at Isandlwana were just the start of a string of bitter lessons. Our focus, however, is on an episode that occurred nearly 2 months later, a clash born not from grand strategy, but from logistical oversight. To wage their offensive, the British required vast supply lines stretching across the harsh terrain of Zululand. It was one such unguarded supply convoy that would become the site of the dramatic Battle of Intombe. The Intombe River, winding through tall grassland, seemed serene, but held dangers for those who underestimated its surroundings. Here, a small British supply convoy camped during its journey to relieve forward positions. The convoy, consisting of wagons packed with food, material, and ammunition, was lightly defended. Lieutenant Harwood, the officer in charge, commanded a mere 50 British troops and a few native aides. Against better judgment, Harwood had chosen a dangerously exposed position near the riverbank. Poorly fortified and spread thin in terms of personnel, the camp rested with misplaced confidence. Little did they know, their every movement was being carefully watched. The Zulu impis nearby, numbering around 400 warriors, were no strangers to the art of war. More than just skilled fighters, they were masters of stealth and observation. They tracked the convoy's arrival and bided their time, knowing that patience and a sudden, overwhelming strike were their greatest advantages. As the troops settled for the night, complacency dominated the camp. Harwood, underestimating the proximity and readiness of the Zulus, did not establish significant defensive positions or conduct proper patrols. No trenches were dug, no wagons were formed into a protective laager, a key defensive technique that had proved its worth in earlier battles. This lack of preparation spoke volumes about Harwood's leadership. Was it overconfidence in the perceived superiority of British forces? Or perhaps inexperience under these volatile conditions? Whatever the cause, it would soon have devastating consequences. At first light on March 12, 1879, chaos erupted. From out of the misty morning, 400 Zulu warriors stormed the British camp with precision and ferocity. The terrifying sound of their war cries shattered the fragile calm. The Zulu battle formation, a classic horns of the buffalo strategy, allowed them to envelop the camp, cutting off any means of retreat. Unprepared and outnumbered, the British troops scrambled to mount a defense. The scene was one of confusion and desperation. Soldiers fired blindly into the rushing tide of Zulu warriors. Screams echoed along the river as men fell on both sides in fierce combat. The Zulus, wielding spears, shields, and an unshakable resolve, tore through the encampment. Their intimate knowledge of the terrain gave them an additional edge. Each warrior knew his role, moving as part of a cohesive, disciplined unit, living proof of the Zulu King Cetshwayo's masterful military organization. Amid the chaos, there were moments of pure human bravery. Isolated groups of British soldiers made desperate last stands, refusing to go down without a fight. But their isolated resistance could not hold back the relentless advance of the Zulus. And where was Harwood, the man entrusted with leading these men? According to later testimony, his leadership faltered at the worst possible moment. Seized with panic, he abandoned his troops and fled the battlefield, leaving the remaining soldiers to fend for themselves. His escape across the Intombe River on horseback became one of the most controversial moments in his career. This retreat shattered any remaining morale within the camp. Cut down in the heat of battle or drowned attempting to escape across the river, the final moments of the British defenders were grim. When the dust settled, the camp was decimated. The Zulus claimed overwhelming victory, having destroyed the convoy and captured valuable supplies. Among the British, only a handful of survivors lived to recount the story. Those who managed to escape did so by swimming across the Intombe River, enduring injuries and exhaustion. For the Zulu kingdom, this triumph was more than just another military success. It was a morale booster, a reminder to their people and their enemies that British imperial forces were not invincible. Despite lacking firearms and facing an empire with global resources, the Zulus proved their mastery of tactics and resilience. The British response to the disaster at Intombe was swift. Investigations into the loss placed heavy scrutiny on Lieutenant Harwood's conduct. His decision to abandon his post during the attack was brought to trial, where he faced court-martial. Though cleared of any official wrongdoing, his reputation lay in tatters, serving as a grim reminder of the importance of competent leadership during wartime. Meanwhile, the defeat forced the British to assess their vulnerabilities. Long, unprotected supply lines in hostile territories had become liabilities, exposing the larger flaws in colonial logistics and planning. It also fueled a growing sense of urgency within British High Command to bring the Zulu resistance to a decisive end. The Battle of Intombe offers profound lessons that resonate even beyond its historical context. First, it highlights the perils of overconfidence. For Harwood and his men, underestimating their enemy contributed as much to their loss as the Zulu warriors' skill and strategy. Second, it underscores the brilliance of Zulu warfare. Often reduced to stereotypes in colonial narratives, the Zulu military system was one of superb discipline and adaptability. Their ability to assess weaknesses and execute calculated attacks has earned rightful recognition in the annals of military history. Finally, the battle shows the human side of war, the fears, mistakes, and acts of courage that define conflicts. Soldiers on both sides gave everything in pursuit of their collective goals, and those stories deserve to be remembered. Today, the Battle of Intombe may not enjoy the same level of fame as Isandlwana or Rorke's Drift, but its cultural significance lives on. For the Zulu people, the victory remains a point of pride, illustrating the strength of a kingdom that stood unyielding against imperialist forces. For British history, it serves as a cautionary tale of war fought on foreign soil, amid unfamiliar terrain and against underestimated foes. The battle also prompts us to re-evaluate the narratives of colonial history. Far too often, such events are viewed solely through the lens of empires, sidelining the experiences and triumphs of those they sought to conquer. By revisiting episodes like Intombe, we can shine a light on the resilience of indigenous peoples and the complexity of their histories. The Battle of Intombe is more than a story of military defeat or victory. It's a window into the broader themes of leadership, strategy, and resistance. It reminds us that even those chapters of history left to the shadows can hold powerful lessons. In revisiting these moments, we honor the sacrifices and triumphs of those who came before us. As the smoke rose over the banks of the Intombe River, one truth became clear. The Zulu kingdom, though imperiled by colonial might, would not be erased quietly. Their spirit lives on in stories like this, where their courage, strategy, and unwavering fight for sovereignty left an indelible mark on history. If you've enjoyed uncovering this little-known battle, don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button, and subscribe for more explorations into the dramatic moments of our past. Until next time, let us continue our journey into the depths of forgotten history.